Hey, and welcome back to ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes Season 2, Webisode 1. It's your host, Tafreed Butt, the founder of ZÁY SHEEN, a brand rooted in sustainable and ethical elegance. In today's webisode, we are joined by someone who's redefining the very foundation of fashion. Jack Wiese is the founder of On the Bias, a global creative infrastructure platform that's changing how designers, brands, and manufacturers bring their vision to life. From AI powered design systems to global supplier networks, On the Bias isn't just a company, it's an ecosystem empowering thousands of fashion visionaries around the world. Jack's journey began not in a boardroom, but on the streets, selling self made garments while building his dream one design at a time. Jack has dedicated his life to connecting creativity, technology, and storytelling in a way that's shaping the next 50 years, 5 decades of fashion. I'm honored to have him here on the ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes as a first guest of a season 2 to talk about his journey, the evolution of On the Bias, and how we can build worlds that empowers creativity on our own terms. So please welcome Jack Wiese. Before we jump in, if the conversations like this matters to you, we bring on people who are shaping conscious fashion, sustainability, and intentional living without the noise or performative talk. So if you would like more conversations like this, take a second to subscribe to the ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes. It helps the show reach the right people and it allows us to keep bringing conscious voices to the table. You can also share this webisode with someone who would appreciate. All right, let's get into it. Thank you very much. We are here with our wonderful guest, Jack Wiese. Jack,
Thank you for
welcome to the
having me.
show.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Of course, it is my pleasure. This is our first episode of the season 2, and I'm very glad to have you as a guest on the show.
Thank you. Starting off with a banger, hopefully.
Of course, no. I mean, so for those behind the scenes, we actually planned to have it for the season 1, but unfortunately, with the timing issue or whatever happens, we wasn't able to, do this. But I was very excited to do this as a first webisode of the season 2 because the innovations that we're going to be talking about in this webisode will be awesome. They're revolutionary. So I'm very, looking forward into it. Um, for those watching from home who might not be familiar with you yet, could you share a bit about who you are, what you do, and why this conversation is the one they should listen to?
So my name is Jack Wiese. I'm the founder and CEO of the company On the Bias. I have about 8 years or so of experience in the fashion industry at various roles. I used to sell vintage. I used to have my own brand, etc. So I've kind of got an overall experience on all parts of the fashion product supply chain, if you will, in terms of every
Uh-huh.
stage a fashion product goes through in its life cycle, essentially. I'm kind of channeling all that experience now into my company On the Bias. And what we do is we're all about doing things differently. I'm sure most of you know already. Cutting something on the bias is kind of going against the grain. It's the diagonal cut. That's what my company's named after. And we're all kind of about fundamentally redesigning the future of the fashion industry. Our kind of goal is to really change the future of the fashion industry and how it operates B2B in terms of design and production, and really trying to make the whole process as cohesive as possible, because right now there's a lot of segmented tools. So we're kind of seeking to put them all in one and then make it as efficient and smart as possible to avoid things like overproduction, inefficient design, take out as much guesswork as possible, all this kind of stuff, because a lot of people are kind of just
Hmm.
guessing on things, which is fun. It's part of the process, right? But also
Right.
results in a lot of things that people don't actually want. So that's kind of what my company is doing, and why you should listen, because sooner or later you're gonna hear about us anyway. So
Oh
might as
yeah.
well, yeah, might as well get it early.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, thank you very much for that brief intro. Um, we will definitely get on the bias, but take us back to those early days when you were selling self-made garments on the street. With the story that you told me the last time when we talked, and how did you manage it, and how did you all started with this?
Yeah, so it goes back even further, funnily enough, with the vintage. That was my first ever kind of fashion business. I used to sell vintage clothes for
Okay.
many years. I did that in high school and early college, and that
Hmm.
was kind of my parents made me get a job, but that was like I was making more money doing vintage stuff. But that was like my first kind of thing, and that really allowed me to refine my taste and learn more about fashion and garments and find like unique reference points and build up kind of a mental catalog of
Hmm.
different niche things. And also I learned a lot about the trend cycles, and where trends come from, like the whole work. Like I grew up in Iowa, so like the whole workwear thing, whole
Hmm.
Carhartt thing, like I literally saw that come to life like as a trend. Um, because a lot of times
Hmm.
trends come from vintage before they come, or like secondhand, because there's no brands making
Right.
them. But then that kind of transitioned into me being like, oh, I kind of want to do something like this, or why isn't this out there, or blah blah blah. Like, because I got a really good idea of the marketplace and all the brands out there. And then I just, yeah,
Right.
started making my own clothes. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just I actually have some pieces here. You can't really see them, um, but yeah, it's just me making the clothes myself in my basement for the most part.
Hmm.
Just I like
Wow.
being hands on when possible. So I just do that, do little pop ups here and there. This was still while I was in school, so it wasn't anything crazy scaled. It
Oh
wasn't really
gosh.
designed. Yeah, it wasn't really designed to be scaled, if you will. But it was definitely something that I very much enjoyed doing. It taught me selling in person and brand building and
Right.
aesthetics and just like dozens of different skills that I'm kind of channeling into this one now. It also taught me, of course, things like technical design, tech packs, flat sketches, like anything, all the fundamental skills I needed for on the bias I learned from this. And because I'm very autodidactic, so like YouTube, books, anything like that. These were skills I learned with on the buy, or sorry, with the brand first. It was called HRMTG,
Of course.
but then yeah, I'm
Okay.
channeling those
Does it
into
still
the.
exist?
No, not anymore. I ended it.
Okay.
Um, we only did
It
like,
evolves to on the
yeah,
bias.
yeah, we only did maybe 4 releases a year. Like it was very kind of rare that we would release
Okay.
very infrequently.
No, that's
But
good
yeah,
actually.
I'm
I do two
focusing.
releases a year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm doing just on the bias. That's where all my focus is now. I tried doing a few things at the same time once, and I it wasn't
Hmm.
going like I would want it to. So I decided to focus all in on the bias, and because I think that can have the most impact. So that's what I'm focusing on.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I believe it definitely helps when, as you said, you were in high school and you started the pop-ups and you went out to meet people. Definitely make a difference. When you go out to the real world, you learn stuff, and especially as early as you can start the business or something that you want to do, that gives you more kind of a um heads up how things gonna work, or you learn on the way,
Exactly. Everything's a learning
right?
experience.
Right. So you said you learned from this one. So what lessons from your early years when you were doing this um shape you how you build today?
Um, I think it wasn't so conscious at the time, but really, so I grew up in Iowa, so it was very much like one of the only fashion people, at least in my city, right? Probably one of the only people doing
Okay.
fashion
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
So I think being forced to kind of do things in a solitary space forced me to
Hmm.
develop a unique voice
Hmm.
in terms of whatever it was I was doing.
Hmm.
It wasn't a lot of mimicry because I didn't have anyone to mimic around me. It was all very had to kind of just develop it on my own. So in some ways, I think that
Yeah.
allowed us with whatever we've done to be very unique in the marketplace. So I think, and a
Hmm.
lot of it was just out of natural environment, but I think those kind of lessons could be applied to anyone. To maybe like I always kind of advocate for these
Right.
periods of kind of solitary creation, if you will. Not like, lock yourself in a room, but, kind of get some reference points. If you're creating something like completely from scratch, like get some reference points and then lock in and then kind of just create it and then unveil it to the world later and then kind of let the feedback determine what you should do next. But if
Hmm.
you really want to create something, I don't think this is a whole another conversation, but I don't think there's anything as complete originality. But if you're looking to create something completely new or define a new category, if
Right.
you will, then sometimes that requires a little bit of solitary creation, which is kind of what I had, which I think was helpful and a valuable lesson in some ways.
Right. So exactly. Looking back, do you think growing up outside of a major fashion hub give you a different perspective on what the industry needs the most right now?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's kind of funny because I've only had outside perspectives. But it's been, yeah, very helpful to, yeah, being from small town Iowa, and yeah, it's very helpful. Because you can kind of see the bigger picture in some ways. Like, when you're in the industry for so
Right.
long, people get so caught up in the details, right? The small little details that
Hmm.
sometimes it takes an outside view
Yeah.
who understands all the smart parts too, but also can see the bigger picture in some ways.
Right.
Whereas, like, if you're so deep in the weeds every day, sometimes it's kind of hard to. That's why, like, owning the brand thing and then also
Yeah.
trying to do the big picture stuff, which is what I'm doing right now with On the Bias. It's kind of hard to balance the two. Like,
Hmm.
if you're in the weeds on everything, and then you're also trying to be big
Hmm.
picture. But yeah, that the outside perspective allowed
No,
me to have
definitely.
big picture for sure. Because
Right.
I'm interacting with different
Bu-
roles all the time based on my current position. So it's yeah.
Right. Right. So for me, living in the fashion hub, in New York City, sometimes I it looks like and it feels like that the brands are just trying to compete with each other, but
Hmm.
not focusing on the issue or the problem. They just
Hmm.
want it to look better than the others in some things or some perspective, but not for in the sense of the problem. That's
Hmm.
why I think that from the outside perspective that you got, maybe you can see the problem that, those brands are not solving, or what are the problems that we can possibly help people with.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of it, and that's just natural human behavior, is when you have people around you, it's just natural to want to mimic them, which is fine.
Mm,
That's obviously natural human behavior. But I think a lot of
right,
it can be beneficial to also at the same time look within yourself and look within your brand DNA of, okay, what are our unique reference points? What's the unique voice we can bring to the space? Because that way you're more likely to survive long
right.
term as well. If you kind of convey those
Hmm.
unique messages instead of just trying to. I mean, obviously there's companies too. It's their whole business model to just copy very well, which is it's that works for them, I guess. But if you want to build something lasting and have a unique base, then typically, yeah, you want to just really bring and convey your unique voice and yeah, solve the problems of. Like I said,
Right.
it's a convoluted topic, but as a close to original as you can get, then you can really solve that because
Uh-huh.
everything's been done before at some point, but you just got to combine things in a unique way
Yeah.
as much as possible.
Exactly. No, thank you so much for explaining me so detailing in so much detail. Um, Now we're gonna get into the most interesting topic that I'm also would love to talk about is on the bias.
Hmm.
What is on the bias?
Yeah, so we are a fashion design and production platform. We are building essentially the end-to-end operating system for fashion brands and designers. And essentially, it's going to be a collaborative space where people can work together on designs, tech packs, finding factories, all this kind of stuff, and manage the life cycle of the product.
Wow, awesome. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but according to what research I did, On the Bias started as a design agency but evolved into a full-scale ecosystem. What sparked that transformation? What things that you saw that industry need, and you came up with this idea?
So yeah, like you said, I started as an agency, and that was partially of like building my experience, working for a lot of clients and stuff like that. But where it kind of evolved was I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to broaden the impact of it, if you will. And I saw an
Okay.
opportunity to have a bigger impact and help more people, really, because you know, as good as our designs are, I think our systems and tools are much better in terms of impact and how many more people they could help. So that was kind of the catalyst for the transition, if you will. Is just really
Mm-hmm.
just about having bigger impact and helping more people, and also, yeah, just to really, really harbor innovation. I really, really wanted to harbor innovation. That's always going to be a huge goal, and actually like push the needle of the entire industry. And it's kind of hard to do that as just
Right.
agency. So kind of had to move. I mean, you could do that as an agency, but yeah, going into tech more. Yeah,
So, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced while shifting On the Bias from the design agency to a full-scale ecosystem?
absolutely the business model part of it because, um,
Okay.
yeah, I'd say the business part of it. Also the mentality shift as
Okay.
well. Because
Mm-hmm.
they're two completely different business models. I mean, software and services, they're just completely different business models.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of adapting and then
Mm-hmm.
also getting customers kind of aware of that. Um, and kind of shifting
Mm-hmm.
your tone in the marketplace. And it wasn't a rebrand per se, but shifting business models is never easy, no matter what industry you're in.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, the biggest challenge. Thankfully,
Mm-hmm.
I've stayed living at home, so I've been fine.
Yeah.
But
W-
but
s-
yeah, so I'd say that.
So when you started it, it was a one-man show, or you find your teammates and did it as a teamwork?
Yeah, it started as one, and then I got people over time as well for different roles, and still have a few people now that we're working with as well.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So you also mentioned about the tools before that, the On the Bias offer better tools. So what, you know, the system. So can you share some of the examples or how your tools or system have already helped designers or transform their processes?
Yeah, so mainly it comes down to technical design. We provide a lot of technical design tools and things for tech packs and such, which are, for those in the audience
Mm-hmm.
who aren't familiar, they're like the technical specifications of a garment or any accessory or anything like that, any fashion item, because each of them needs technical specifications so the factory can understand how it's made. Same way a blueprint has, or a house has a blueprint showing how it's made and how things are lined up. Same thing for garments, like what kind of stitching goes here, what kind of seam is here, blah, blah, blah. Same thing for garments, and that's really where our tools are stellar. Um, so that's really where our tools have had a lot of impact. Brands all over the world. I was looking the other day, they've been used in over 46 countries, which I thought was kind of cool.
Um, Also, I have read on the website, on also on your LinkedIn, that when you say own the bias is the fashion infrastructure for the next 50 years,
hmm
what does that mean practically?
Yeah, so essentially we're looking to build the back end of the fashion industry and the infrastructure, whether it's
Hmm.
design, production, PLM tools, all this kind of collaboration tools, essentially the digital side of the fashion industry and how it operates for the next few generations, at least. But that's the grandiose goal that we have. But essentially, that's what that means, is really building the entire B2B fashion industry back end.
Wow, that's cool. So how do you see AI and digital infrastructures specifically uh, transforming the way designers and manufacturers collaborate in the next few decades?
Yeah, it's obviously going to be a huge thing to watch. Um, Interestingly, the fashion industry is notoriously slow to adopt new technology. It's kind of had the same for designers,
Mm,
they've kind of had the same tools for the last 15 years, basically 20 years, more or less.
wow.
There's still a lot of fax machines
Okay.
and stuff. So I don't think it'll be as
Hmm.
fast as other industries per se, like software development or something like that, where they're using new tools every week or every month. But it will still obviously impact a lot of ways that people move. I think like for us right now,
Hmm.
it's like coming down to sourcing tools and finding good partners, because there's a lot of menial stuff that we're looking to kind of assist with, whether it's like tech pack creation, finding good factories, RFQs like requests for quotes, um, assisting with like
Right.
managing production or like line planning, because there's a lot of data around, but it's just very
Hmm.
siloed. And that's just what we're seeking to kind of bring in AI. Not so much with design, a little bit with design, but we're more so on the like designer led kind of um,
Right.
activity, if you will, in terms of like the menial stuff that allows them to be more creative, if you will.
Right. So what steps are you taking to ensure the on the bias stays adaptable as technology and the fashion industry continue to evolve?
It's very much a company culture thing, in terms of being open to shifting and new technologies. I mean, like we've been through business shifts before, like we were just talking about, so it's not foreign to us to adapt, whether it's business models or pivot on different ideas or try different things. So it's very much already ingrained in our culture, and
Yeah.
also mine as well. Um, so it's no problem at all. But yeah, we'll just obviously want to create things that people want. So we're just going to be cognizant of what the market actually wants and feedback and everything.
Hmm. Awesome. Can you share one real life example for on the bias for any manufacturer or the brand uses this,
hmm
and what were their response to it?
hmm So I can give you a recent example. So recently I was at Paris
Yeah.
Fashion Week, and I was at some
Hmm.
pop-up event, and I
Oh
overheard
yeah.
someone, yeah, yeah. I overheard someone talking about how they had a brand. I didn't go in any, like we didn't have any events at Paris Fashion Week. This was just my first one, so it was kind of just testing the water. I did some
Hmm.
content there and everything, of course, but I
Nice.
didn't have any. We'll have events there in the future, certainly, but for now, I was just kind of
Cool.
testing the water.
Invite me there.
Was that?
I said invite me too.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely will. But yeah, so someone was talking about how they
Okay,
had a
thank you.
how they had a brand, and I just overheard them introduce myself, introduce our company.
Hmm.
Um,
Nice.
we met, and then they became a client of our platform, and then they actually made a jacket recently, and they made a process video. They showed our um platform in the video, which I thought was kind of cool. So that was just like literally like a few
Oh
days
yeah.
ago. A few days ago, they sent me this video. But as I said earlier,
Uh-huh.
like our stuff has been used in like over 46 different countries, by 6,000 different designers,
Well,
as
wow.
far as I know, students, factories, brand
Okay.
owners, graphic designers, etc. But that's like probably the most recent documented example.
Hmm. So from the global users, you said around 45, 47 countries that you're
Yeah,
in?
46. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. That's incredible. So have you noticed any unique ways different regions are using on the bias that surprised you? Or did you get the feedback that you thought, oh wow, I never thought kind of that way, but this is
Um,
unique.
yeah, I mean, it's so interesting the usage between each region because obviously regions like say for example like India, Pakistan,
Mm-hmm.
Bangladesh, they're going to use it on a factory side mostly for the most part. And like Europe is
Mm-hmm.
kind of interesting. Europe is very interesting because there's a lot of mix there. We do surprisingly well in Europe, which I really like. Maybe that was the most
Yeah.
surprising in terms of just how much industry they have. They have a lot of manufacturers actually and a lot of manufacturing. The US, it was pretty much just designers and brand owners. It was just more so the more surprising things were like where things would or where our customers would come from in terms of countries, like random countries,
Mm-hmm.
maybe like
Yeah.
Romania or Poland or uh
Which country were you were most
Belarus, maybe.
surprised of?
Um
Belarus? Is that a country?
yeah, it borders
I
Russia.
don't
It's
know.
a very small country. I'd have to look again, but probably
Okay.
countries like Belarus or I don't know, just random stuff where we've never done anything.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
it's kind of
That's so
fun.
cool.
Yeah. In the future, I want to get like a map and then have like, a little pin for every country that we
Oh
have,
yeah.
or like an interactive map
Exactly.
where like
Yeah.
it
Put a
lights
pin
up.
on each country.
Yeah, or like it lights up where, you have a presence or something. But yeah, I'd say that.
Right. And when did you started on the bias? I believe
Um,
it's recently, right? Or
yeah,
some
it's
time
still
ago?
young in terms of startups go, I'd say. So yeah, like I've said, like I've never had like a clear definitive start date for anything. Like it's just kind of been
Mm-hmm.
ongoing a lot of these. Like I used to sell
Yeah.
our fashion design tools, like very small ones, like only like maybe 10 different ones under a different company, like
Mm-hmm.
not different company, but just different name. Maybe starting 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. But then On the Bias as a name was
Mm-hmm.
born maybe 2 years ago, but it launched officially maybe March of 2024. So not super old, but in terms of
Okay.
like full
Wow.
time, I graduated in May, so I consider that like the full time. Okay, let's turn up a notch
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. I consider that the kind of
Awesome.
next level start of it.
I I I believe it's paying off. In just 1.5 year, you reached over 45 countries. That's just awesome.
hmm Yeah. More to come certainly, but yeah, it's been a cool journey so far.
So so for those who wanted to start to work with On the Bias, so what is the process? How they can start to work with you
Yeah. So
on
you
this
can
platform?
Yeah, you can just go on our website. We have a free plan as well as a paid subscription, but you can go on, you can sign
Mm-hmm.
up, answer a few questions about your brand, and then basically just go from there. It's very simple. All our design tools are very accessible. Everything has guides on it. So that way, we have also like tutorials and such on our platform as well. So you know how to use everything, how to navigate the platform as well. And then we have pretty accessible support. So it's very easy to find support if you need it. But yeah, you can go on our website, you can sign up. It's
Wow.
very, very simple.
Is there any hmm, that's cool. What is a website? Can you
Um,
tell? Also, we'll be
yes.
mentioning into the description, but
Mm,
what is a website?
Yeah, it's on the bias on the BIAS design.com. And it's very simple. At the top, there'll be a button that says,
Mm-hmm.
I think it says unlock access or something like that, or join today or something like that. That button will take you to a section where you can sign up. It's one of the first things you see, so it's very simple to join.
Awesome, perfect. So the brands and the manufacturers both work on this platform, is there any difference in the design? And the design means the work process for the brands and for the manufacturers.
Yeah, for the manufacturers, it's more kind of utilitarian, because their main use of it is, okay, we're gonna get customers from here. They're not so much designing on the platform, although some do. It's more utilitarian for them and kind of more of a CRM tool, which is a client relationship management tool,
Yeah.
where they're kind of just, okay, who's a client?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what stage are they at? Blah, blah, blah. Whereas designers are using it more so for design and tech packs and all this other stuff. Whereas the factories and suppliers are just more using it to receive files for the most part. But eventually there's going to be more kind of, it's going to be more similar for each. Because we do have some people who are also wanting to use it for like tech packs on the factory side.
Wow, that's cool. Two things I want to ask is one thing that you're working on right now in the bias and wanting to upgrade or change or evolve, and one thing that you saw the users of on the bias did came up with an issue on the platform, or the thing that they wanted to add to the platform that you're working on.
So first one was one thing I would change.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you could answer either first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind.
Yeah. I'd say it mostly comes down to an ambition thing. Like I'd love for it to be more global. I know that's not so much like a fundamental feature thing that I'd love to change, but really just getting it to be end to end
Okay.
is really what my goal is, and to digitize as much of the industry as much as possible, because I really think that's needed. So that way, for example, we'll be able to unlock insights. Like if we understand the full process of a company, then we can be like, this factory will actually maybe be a more sustainable option for you, or has 20% less impact because we'll have a read on the materials, the like the artwork application methods that they're using, like all the different things that go into the tech pack. We'll be aware of that, so that way we can, and that's where the AI would come in as well, is like, okay, who's the best factory for them, even if they're going with this other one, and then that's something that we can suggest. So really just a full build out of the platform scope that I have, that we'll get to eventually, but it's kind of just starting a little bit more basic, and then obviously getting there.
Awesome.
hmm
Yeah, I mean, you still did so great in just it's I think it's a very short period of time,
yeah.
because I think it's going well, because that is something that we need. That is
hmm
something, there's a gap in our industry that, on the bias can fill it up and bridge us with the consumer, with the factories as a brand, or for the factories to the brands. And, it's kind of ecosystem.
hmm Yeah, exactly. Full ecosystem,
Right.
continuous loop.
Okay. Exactly.
I want to share why ZÁY SHEEN exists. Most of us are used to buying clothes that look good for a moment, but don't last in quality, meaning, or impact. ZÁY SHEEN was built the opposite way. Every piece we create is designed to be timeless, not a trend-driven, ethically produced, thoughtfully sourced, and made to be worn for years, not weeks. We believe sustainability doesn't need to be loud or performative. It should feel natural, intentional, and human. Just like the conversation you're watching right now. If you care about what you wear, who made it, and the impact it leaves behind, ZÁY SHEEN was created for you. You can explore the collection and learn more at www.zaysheen.com or tap the first link in the description. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah, right. So for the next segment we have is a rapid fire.
hmm
Are you ready?
Yes.
I got couple of many questions.
Hmm.
So let's go. Let's start. One word that defines Jack Wise. Jack Wiese. I'm sorry, I said it wrong again.
No, you're good. Quixotic.
Chaotic?
Chaotic, yeah.
Is that coming from your team members, or is that just you?
That's coming from me. Although they would probably
Okay.
concur if they it's a kind of a rare, weird word, so
Okay. Okay. No worries. So one word that defines on the bias.
mm, I would say I would want to use the same word, but I think contrarian, maybe,
Oh wow.
if that makes sense, because that's kind of in the DNA.
Okay,
Just
that's a big
yeah,
word. I don't know,
yeah.
what does that mean?
Contrarian, it means doing things kind of against the grain, not being afraid to be different. Contrary to
Oh wow.
popular kind of, just being a contrarian just means
Contrary.
contrary to what people around you are doing, or sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad,
Wow,
but
that's
yeah.
cool. That's a cool word. Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how you evolve, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's how
Uh,
you differentiate.
what's what's a phrase or quote you live by?
Um, Sounds basic, but just do it.
Just do
Sometimes,
it.
sometimes all you can do is just
Okay.
do.
That's universal.
Just try it. Just see what happens.
It's just do,
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah, see what happens. Creativity or structure, which drives you more?
Creativity and then structure. I'd say creativity drives me more. Just personally, I'm very much a creative,
So
messy.
how
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now I can link the chaotic thing and creativity and not being structured. But wh- how, what do you think? How important it is to be or to have a structure in life or in business?
It really depends on what kind of person you are, because I know there's a lot online about people being having a routine and waking up at 5 a.m., taking a cold shower, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And for some people that works, but for others it also doesn't. So I think it really depends. For me, what I found works is be a messy creative, and then do the structure, and then put it in the structure. Throw things at a wall, see what sticks, and then document what sticks is kind of what I found works. But I think it really depends on the person.
Okay, so the most overrated buzzword in fashion right now.
Sustainability. This might be a hot take, but I think sustainability.
Um, I agree.
Like, you should be
Yes.
about it. Like, you should be
One
about it. It
thing.
shouldn't be something that's
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
you should be about it. You shouldn't be like, oh, we're sustainable. Like, it should just be, we're about it. Like, you know, it should just be part of your DNA. It shouldn't have to be something that's like on a golden plaque. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I because I'm in this industry too, and I'm learning. Right. Exactly. So because I'm in this industry too, and I'm learning more stuff, I feel like that people overcomplicate sustainability.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Like,
you
you're either
know,
about it or you aren't.
and some greenwashing and all that. That's another thing. So yeah, I kind of agree with you, man. I have a lot of questions about creativity, and you said you. Oh yeah, you actually like creativity. Okay, what's
Mhm.
your favorite part of the creative process?
The messy parts, the messy inspiration parts, just piecing together different reference points and all these different like how to blending
Uh,
disparate reference points together is one of my favorite, to be honest. Like, how can
uh,
this blend with this,
wow.
blend with this, blend with this, whether it's colors, form, function, anything.
Creativity. Wow. Okay. So Uh, you have you seen that video? I don't want peace, I want problem always. So maybe you're that kind of a guy. You need problems
Yeah,
and you solve them with creativity.
probably. I think that would make sense.
Okay. Yeah. Um, what's one lesson you have learned the hard way?
Um, doing what seems like doing what you think you should do based on what you've heard. If how do you articulate that? Um, like if you've heard that something should be done in your space at a certain stage, sometimes it's a dangerous fallacy to try to do it yourself too, because a lot of times it's like, or you could just say taking cookie cutter advice and applying it to your situation exactly, because sometimes that can be more detrimental than good. If you just take something you've heard before and then just try it verbatim for your situation, like you need to take
Right.
everything you hear and consider it in context of your situation and then apply it in the context of your situation, and instead of just trying it straight away, like for me, like, oh, I heard it's normal in a company to have this person, so then, or like you do something because you've heard it's regular to do, but then it's not really, it doesn't make sense for your context or for your stage or something. So just taking like general cookie cutter advice and applying it exactly without considering your context, I'd say. It's something I learned the hard way.
Wow, that's cool. Two more questions. What would you tell your younger self selling clothes on the street or on the pop-ups means?
Hold it down. Just keep
Hold it
going.
down?
Yeah, hold it down. Just keep going.
Okay. Yeah. It's
Just
all
keep
worth it,
learning. Just keep
right?
learning.
Yeah, right. So finish this sentence. The future of fashion is
Going to be determined by young, ambitious individuals not afraid to learn and work.
awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Applause. Okay. Thank you very much, Jack, for this segment. I mean, we have a lot more things to cover. I mean, I would love to, but because of we have a short time, and especially with the internet connection, I don't think we're gonna be, stay for longer.
Next season.
So, right, hopefully,
I'll have better
hopefully this
internet by
season,
then.
another episode. Yeah, better internet, right? So there are, uh, so before we end this up. I will actually ask you questions that we uploaded on our Instagram post on
Mm-hmm.
our ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes profile Instagram, and we introduced the upcoming guest on our show, and we asked the people, the community, what are their questions they have for the guest that we could ask them on the show, on the webisode. So, we can learn more or we can learn about their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there are total of 4 questions I'll go over
Mm-hmm.
with each. So the first question, for new designers who don't have funding or connections, what's the most realistic way to start building a brand today?
Wow, that's a good one. Because I'm trying to think back, because I kind of started in a similar position as well. So I'm trying to think back.
Yeah, exactly.
I think,
I
yeah, I think it will just be a matter of not being afraid to work with your hands and compromise a little bit, not being afraid to compromise a little bit, because obviously we'd all love to have a bunch of funding and connections, but typically that's not how it goes. So I'd say don't be afraid to either learn how to make stuff or go work for a place where they make clothes or something, so you can be adjacent to that space. And then like while you're doing that, you can just be thinking about your brand and what you're gonna make and what's your story, what's your unique perspective. And then I think just finding a creative way to kind of build that up. Like even if you just do a few pieces at a time, just do custom pieces. I've seen a lot of people do that, is they'll just do a few custom things and then sell those for, obviously handmade things are more expensive. So, you could sell a few handmade pieces and then
Yeah.
maybe do like 10 unit, like order 10 pieces, order 15 pieces. There are places that will make as little as like 10 pieces or 15 pieces. Obviously, it's better to make more if you can
Right.
sometimes. But I'd say, yeah, just being creative, just try to be as creative as you can with finding different paths.
Right. So in simple words, you're not gonna have the connections or the funding overnight. You just have
Yeah.
to work, as you said. What word you said? Work harder. When I asked you the question, to
Of
what you answered to your younger self.
just hold it down.
Hold it down.
Just
Yeah.
keep going.
There you go.
Just keep going.
Yeah. Because as for me too, I started not too long ago, but as long the way you work, you put efforts into it, the opportunity is gonna come.
Yeah.
It's a law of nature, I call.
Yeah, you just have to
So
put
there is
yourself in the room
no
consistently or in the space
denying it this.
consistently.
Right. Okay. Next question. AI is becoming a big part of fashion now. Do you think it empowers creativity or risks replacing it?
I think as long as you can retain your taste and you don't become AI yourself, if that makes sense, that I think it will enable creativity. I think it will come down to the individual is how replaceable are they? You know, if they have a unique taste, a unique spin, a unique perspective that they maintain in this age of we're all increasingly online, right? We're all increasingly seeing the same things. If they can retain their own individual sense of
Right.
taste, of like that's what makes a designer special, in my opinion, anyway. So if they can retain that, instead of losing it to convenient tools like AI and stuff,
Hmm.
then they will always, because AI can't determine like what's good really. It's up to humans still to determine, okay, what's good,
Okay.
what's tacky, blah blah blah. Because AI doesn't really have taste; it's just kind of
Mm.
algorithmic, and stuff like that. So it's like a machine. So as long as the humans don't come like
Yeah, they
machines,
focus more on data.
yeah, like as long,
What do you have some recent examples that you were trying to work on a project and you get a help with AI and you thought that this is more like a robotic thing than actual creativity that we can give a human touch to it?
hmm um, I actually don't use AI in my creative process very much personally. I know a lot of people that
Oh
do,
wow.
but
Wow.
um, I'll use it for
Okay.
research and such, for assisting with research. But for me, I
Hmm.
don't really use it in the creative process that much, um, which might be ironic, I
Okay.
guess, in this age. But just for me, that's one of the avenues I like to have where I don't let it. Just obviously in our platform we'll have it, but um,
Mm.
me personally, like if I'm
Yeah.
doing something, which I usually just do it for like ideation, maybe a little bit assistance with research, kind of the more menial things.
Hmm.
But there are certainly times like I like writing, and there are certainly times in like say I need to write a lot of marketing materials or something like that. There is times I wish I could have the output to write all the time, um, to the level
Hmm.
that AI can, but that is like one avenue where I use it where previously I never did. So sometimes I do,
Okay,
yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I do use AI,
hmm
so maybe
Yeah,
I
me
should
too, yeah.
limit it more.
Yeah, I use it in
So
almost every
the next
avenue, but
question.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Except design in some ways.
So many. Oh, okay. Okay, let me go. So many brands call themselves sustainable, the buzzword again. But it's hard for consumers to tell what's real. What's one sign that a brand is truly ethical?
I'd say
Maybe
hmm
maybe they asked this question.
hmm
I'm sorry, Zach, I cut you off. Maybe they asked this question in the sense of on the bias. How
hmm
on the bias determine or, verify that the manufacturer or the brand is really sustainable or ethical?
I personally, whether it's a consumer brand or manufacturer or whoever, I like to look at the history. Like, what's their history? Like, what's their track record? You know, not what some recent rebrand or some recent
Mm-hmm.
trend or some recent kind of activity. Because there was sustainability before there was sustainability, in the sense of there were people minimizing consumption before there was really a word for it. Like, being sustainable is
Exactly.
oftentimes, oh, we're going to be more efficient with materials. We're going to try to reduce the waste, all that kind of stuff. And that stuff has been around for a long time. So
Exactly.
if you really look at the history, I think it will give you an idea.
Yeah.
Like Patagonia, for example, on the consumer side, like unmatched history with Patagonia. Like, you can just, the history will be the number one thing. Like, what's their track record? But also, obviously, companies can come under new management. They can go in new directions. I understand that. But obviously, the number one indicator is going to be history, and how long have they had, like, for example, a resale program or a repair program, or that's on the consumer side, I guess. But you can kind of find similar attributes
Mhm.
on the um, factory side as well. Also, usually a good indicator ends up being story, like how good are they at storytelling, and um, you know, showcasing their history and where they come from, and because typically those kind of people are going to be a little bit more conscientious of sustainability and reducing waste and such things.
Awesome. Thank you. Last question. If you could give piece of advice to a young designers feeling stuck between creative passion and financial survival, what it would be? Oh man, a lot of financial questions.
I'd say use
Okay.
it. I I'd
What
say
it would
use
be,
it. I
Jack?
mean, I'd say use it because, to me, I think you need to figure out how constraints can be your strengths. Like, a lot of times we want to have unbounded creativity, not bounded by
Mm-hmm.
financial or anything, which would be amazing, but that's not the case. So you might as well learn how to use constraints to your advantage. So learn how you can kind of turn those limitations into strengths, as much as possible. It's kind of a long process. It takes a while to learn, but like, for example, like, you can
Yeah.
own that in your story, you can own that in your brand DNA, even in the design elements, like reference where you come from or whatever. So there's like a million ways you can kind of bake that in, to the story and everything. But it really comes down to, I think, just learning how to make it work, if you will.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That's it for this segment.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you again, Jack. It was wonderful speaking to you on this webisode. It was
Hmm.
such a pleasure
Thank
and
you for having me.
long waiting for this one. Of course, it's my pleasure. I mean, um, anything that you want to add or wanted to say to the audience of the Zayshin webisodes?
Hold it down, keep going, keep learning, keep experimenting.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, simple but deep.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Maybe I'm curious to ask more about your Paris Fashion Week. If you can tell me a little bit more before we go.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, this was my first, I think it started September 28th. Um, it's 28th, 29th, and then went through October 6th, I believe. But yeah, it was my first one. It was very interesting.
Hmm.
It was kind of like those things, like, there's a lot of things that I haven't really taken advantage of yet, now that I have a somewhat
Okay.
recognized company. And I think one of them was like things like Paris Fashion Week or things like that, where I can get into now a little bit
Hmm.
more, that weren't really accessible
Yeah.
before. So it was very fun. It was kind of a lot of outreach, and I've learned a lot about PR and how that world works, and how you even get invites to shows, and how you even, figure out who's who with companies and all this stuff. So it was a very fun process because we built like a whole spreadsheet. Like, okay, here are all the brands going, here are all the people that work in them in the PR department, and then we just basically did like crazy campaign. It was like email, LinkedIn, Instagram, like anywhere where we could get
Right.
in contact with them. That's what we did, and it
Wow.
worked. It worked for a lot of the brands actually. No one huge. Like I'd say the biggest brand we went to was Pierre Cardin. He's
Oh,
he
wow.
used to work at Dior. He's been dead, but that was like
Okay.
that was the last one. That was the last one I went to.
Yeah,
But
Wes.
I mean, we were able to get responses from people I didn't even think
Okay.
would bother to reply, like Rick Owens at Lacoste.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, you know, one thing that I learned in my life is that don't afraid to ask someone something that you wanted to ask, because you never know
yeah, of course.
how the response gonna be, or maybe it come up with in a positive way. If it's negative, or if they say no thank you, then that's it. But we never know if they say yes, you know, that could be a life-changing moment.
Yeah, exactly. Like Jay-Z said, closed mouths don't get fed. So the first step is just asking.
Right. I'm sorry, come again?
The first step is just asking.
You got stuck. I didn't hear what you
Uh,
asked.
I said the first step is just asking.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. That's how I cold outreached you too, you know.
Yeah, of course.
So I said, yeah, let me take a chance, because the work that he's doing is just awesome. Maybe have him on the webisode and we can share his journey, share what on the bias is, and people can take advantage of it.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you for having me.
Right? Of course, no pleasure. And thank you very much to the people. Jack, where people can find you?
You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn. Uh, let's see. I think those are my main channels. But obviously, mostly going to be through the company, which is at On the Bias Design. Um, on the BIAS Design on all social media channels: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever you can think of. We're there. That's our handle. You can find me at Jack B. Wiese,
Awesome.
Wiese. Instagram and LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All the links that Jack mentioned, you can find it into the description. Also, the link to the On the Bias website, where you can actually start to be the part of it, and, you know, make a big difference in your processes of the business, and take advantage what Jack have built, because that is, you know, is for helping you.
Looking forward to welcoming them.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, yes. Thank you very much again, Jack, for joining us, and to the audience for joining us for the season 2 of episode 1. And I'll see you with the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah.